Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Within Range Coaching Podcast. I'm Ranger, certified holistic success coach, and in this podcast, I'm breaking down the journey that entrepreneurs face as they start their organization, find solutions to the roadblocks in their way, and create an impact that lasts. So if you're an entrepreneur, nonprofit leader, or purpose-driven community member that wants to learn how to grow your impact and develop yourself as the person behind the mission, then this podcast is for you. I know you're just as eager to get started as I am, so let's jump right in. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of the Within Range Coaching Podcast. And I have a treat for you guys, literally and figuratively, I guess. Continuing on with my Walk Across America journey, again, highlighting entrepreneurs, nonprofit leaders, and amazing community members that are making a difference in their areas and just kind of showcasing that talent can come from anywhere and that anybody can do amazing things. And today's story, it's one of those, again, making a connection with people that I never would have had I not been walking across the country. So on one of my very last days of being in Little Rock in Arkansas, I was trying to brave the elements. It was raining a little bit outside, and I crossed the road and ended up next to a little shopping center, and there were two little businesses that caught my eye. The first one is called Cheesecake on Point. I was like, oh, a little cheesecake shop. How neat. And as I turned to start walking in, I saw that there was another business right next door, a little pizza joint. And I said, no way. I'm going to get some pizza. I'm going to get some cheesecake. I'm going to build up those calories and try something good as I make my way to my hotel for the night. And as I was walking up, one of the gentlemen in the pizza shop stopped me and said, wait a second, are you the guy I saw on the news earlier? I was like, I sure hope so. I hope there's nobody else walking across the country that was on the news recently. And I struck up a conversation with them, and we are able to chat with them even more today. The pizza joint that I was stopped by is called Certified Pies over in Little Rock, Arkansas. And today we're joined by Kreg Stewart, Samantha Stewart, and Harlem Wilson, the owners of the pizza joint. Guys, thank you so much for joining me today and taking time out of your schedule to hang out.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us, Ranger.
Of course. Yeah. Would you guys mind? And right now it's just Kreg and Samantha. It sounds like Harlem's doing some inventory and he'll pop in from time to time. But could you guys share a little bit about yourselves and what your intention for today's episode is?
So my name is Samantha Stewart, and next to me is my husband, Kreg Stewart. We are obviously married, and we own Certified Pies. We're located in West Little Rock. Our address is 9807 West Markham. We started our business in 2020 during the pandemic. We built that up. We just operated on weekends at first and tried to build up a following and a clientele and perfect our product. And then in September of 2023, we opened our brick and mortar. So we were able to grow our business from just weekends and deliveries and pickups into a full service restaurant, brick and mortar that we're now open 7 days a week. So I think our intentions is just to be able to share maybe a little bit more about our story and inspire the next person that is interested in creating a business.
I love that. And I feel like that's really what I kind of want to hone in on for a second is I feel like a lot of people, I just got off of I was guest on a different podcast, and that was something that we talked about a little bit is the like excuses or reasons that people come up with as to why they can't do certain things. What I think right there is so valuable is what I've heard from other people is, oh, I want to start a restaurant or, oh, I want to start a business, but I can't go into it full time. I can't do 40 hours a week. I can't do Monday through Friday. And what you guys just kind of said there was you're kind of bootstrapping it. You're doing it just on weekends, just doing what you can. And I did a couple Google searches, like looking into you guys a little bit more. And it looks like you guys started out of, I don't know how to pronounce it, like Arkansas Kitchen or Ark Kitchen. Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about that business incubator, which it's a communal kitchen for small businesses to use, right? Can you talk about your experience there?
Yeah. You
We basically started our intentions really were to do meal prep out of that space. We had no plans on doing pizza at first, believe it or not. I really we really shifted our whole goal or business idea to pizza in the summer of 2020 on my birthday, actually. Harlem actually made me a birthday pizza, basically. I had been begging him for years to make me any of his versions of pizza because he was just making pizzas, sub sandwiches, pastas, just all kind of good food over the internet, and I could never get any. And finally, one day he took pity on me and he said, "You know what? I'm gonna make you a pizza for your birthday." So believe it or not, we were actually podcasting that day. So we did our podcast. He made the dough from scratch. Let it sit, and we went and recorded our podcast for a second. About an hour or two, came back, and I just watched them make it. And I tell everybody when I tell this story, like when I bit into that pizza, it was like a light bulb went off in my head, and something was just telling me like, "Hey, uh, you need to switch to doing this pizza." And it was really great pizza. It was like something that I hadn't tasted in Arkansas. Like I would say we are avid pizza eaters, and we've tried pizza from around the area, and it's all good. It's not that it's not bad or good in or anything. It was just this was different. And I just looked at Sam and I looked at Harlem. And I was like, y'all, I don't know, man. I was like, do y'all? I think we should partner up and do something with this pizza. And we all sat on it and talked about it over the weekend and came back together. And literally that Monday, we sat on the couch and started naming pizzas and what we wanted. And it just grew from there, literally from the couch to now we're in our brick and mortar 3 years later. And AR Kitchen was definitely the incubator for everything that we had to get started. I would say it definitely gave us the trial and error phase as far as being able to see if your product is sustainable. Do people want it? Is it there demand for it? And we just did it on the weekends and we stayed consistent with it and the people kept showing up. I always tell them every time, like, if y'all keep coming, we'll keep going. And every weekend we showed up and more people just started spreading the word and spreading the word. And it was just, it was nice to start in a space where it wasn't so much overhead. You don't have the electricity, the water, everything's not on you per se to get started. But it definitely helped us and to prepare for our full service restaurant for sure.
Yeah, Arkansas is a little different. We don't have cottage laws that allow people to cook hot food like out of their homes. So when we got with our kitchen, that was like a commercial kitchen space that we could get licensed in and rent out versus us having, again, the overhead, trying to find a space, and also, knowing that if we had a more of a brick and mortar, especially during the pandemic time where you couldn't dine in, that was just a lot of extra expense that we didn't necessarily need, especially if we were, like, I was still working full time, Harlem was still working full time, he was still working. So like the weekends was our chance to, get that done. And so it did kind of give us a little bit of a cushion where we could do work, support ourselves, and then create the business on the weekend and, put our efforts and energy into that, solely on the weekends. And so, yeah, it was great for us at the time and we grew out of it. And, but it did allow us to, perfect our product, really, make sure like what we were offering was something worth paying for. Allowed us to build up that customer base because this was something new. So, everybody wants to try it when it's new, but like, do they come back? Like, we want to make sure that people, come back for the product. And just figuring out all the things with, business ownership. So it was good for us to use that as a stepping stone.
Yeah, and I think that's so important. Like these entrepreneur support organizations, these ESOs, like Our Kitchen, which I saw you guys did a little bit of work with the Venture Center in Little Rock too recently, or you're partnering with them for your one of your wing days. I think organizations like that kind of help you limit risk early on, like you said, so you can take that initial step, figure out if it's a good product, figure out if people want it. Like you said, is this just new and exciting, or is this something that's sustainable, that's going to have that following and that community behind it? And what I've noticed about you guys on your social media, you have like what, 16, 17,000 people or so that are following on socials. How are you guys able to build that following, like through COVID, like one, survive COVID, starting during the pandemic, it sounds like, and kind of build that following to the point that you have so much interaction, you have this following on social media that's from, I don't know, from the outside looking in, looks extremely supportive.
I've always been an advocate about I want people to see our story from the beginning, like to the end. So I will always take videos, go live. Samantha and Harlem get tired of me because I go live and I take videos so much because I just it's an experience not only for us, but for our customers as well that do spend their hard-earned money, that do come from out of state or in state or wherever they come from to come here. And it's because of those stories that I feel like when I go live and I'm transparent with our customers about, hey, we're going through this today, not just talking about what we're serving, but literally telling them, hey, I had a bad day. Like today was not a good day. We didn't make that bunch of a lot of money, but hey, we're gonna keep going. We're gonna get better. We're gonna keep focusing on the positive versus just always just showing product. I try to show ourselves and make people fall in love with not only our product but us as well as people, and know that hey, I'm just a guy that had a goal and a dream just like anybody else, and I really wanted y'all to see us from the beginning to where we are now with where we're at and how far we've come. And that's been my goal this whole time, is to just be as open as possible about just the whole entire situation, everything that we go through on a day-to-day basis. So I think that really touches people in a different way versus them just seeing a product, a pizza, because you can get a pizza from anywhere. You know what I'm saying? You can get you can, but what makes it different is I think people know that like we're married, that we know that they see our son in here sometimes and they'll speak and say, hey, KJ, because they'll see him on video and they'll shock him because they're like, how do they know my name? I'm telling you, son, they saw you on live. So it's just little stuff like that you probably don't get to see from those big franchises like McDonald's or, those bigger companies that don't let you in through the back door. And I just try to give people an inside peek on who we are as people and how we operate.
Yeah, because I was going to say your guys' personalities, or whoever manages a social media account, like your personality is in the page. Even just scrolling through it, like you're posting like memes and jokes, and you're like playing with customers, like, and your customers play back. Like there's like, what is it? There was one that was like, oh, like this pizza needs to come with a nutrition label or something for like how it is. Like, I was like, I don't think I've ever seen somebody make silly jokes like that with like Domino's. Like, like nobody's going to see these big chain corporations, which again, they're still good. They're still pizza. Like pizza's pizza, right? But like your guys' personality and what you guys been able to cultivate online, I think is very unique. And I think it's a lesson that a lot of people can learn from what you guys are doing, kind of replicate that almost.
Yeah, I think most, people that are even interested in business ownership, like we said, they just see a business pop up like out of nowhere, and, we've been real vocal as far as like, even when we were looking for spaces outside of the space that we're in right now, like we would go and we would talk about that process of going to a empty, space and then trying to figure out whether this was going to work or not for us. Is the location good? Is it going to have enough parking? Is it, just all of those small minor details. We was, communicating. And we would even have people send us like places like, hey, did you see this spot? Or hey, did you see that, this business is moving or closing? I mean, because during that time there was a lot of restaurants were, closing down. And so, people felt empowered to be able to give us this information, or connect us with, with different people. But sharing that journey does build a bond with your customers and your clientele. And you want loyalty, like you want loyal followers. So we had people, but there was a short period from when we stopped serving out of the kitchen until we opened this space, because we had to really focus on the new space versus operating. And we had people tell us like, I didn't eat no pizza from when y'all stopped until y'all opened back up, because I just felt like I was cheating, like, or it just wasn't the same. And I mean, and then we've had people, yeah, that, well, I did, I had to, I went out and it just wasn't right, so much like, you see these people leave, reviews or, like I said, they'll tag us in random stuff. But that's part of it. Like we enjoy that interaction with the customer just as much as we enjoy, seeing them come into the store and other people telling our story. So because they have their version of how they found us. Like I remember when we was pulling around to the back of the building, and where I could only get it through DoorDash, or I could only get it through delivery, and only during these certain times, but I would tell everybody about it. So everybody has their version of either how they found us, and how they share our business to their friends and family. And I think we enjoy those stories just as much as we enjoy sharing how we actually did it.
And that's what I've noticed even with my journey of my walk is it's one thing to share, oh, the good things, or oh, here's the sights and the pretty things I see and this and that. But sharing the struggles, sharing the issues that come up, the worries, the concerns, I think that's what kind of creates the difference between like a follower and a supporter, or maybe it's vice versa. I don't know how to describe it just yet, but when other people that aren't directly doing the thing you're doing feel like they're a part of that community, it's a literal game changer in how they interact with you, how they tell people about you. And I think that's the difference between having 1 million followers and like 50,000 supporters, right? Like they're invested in it in some way.
Oh yeah, I try to tell all my restaurant friends to, hey, get on social media, engage with the people, let them know that you're out here, post those photos that you're scared to post. It don't have to be perfect. Mine wasn't perfect, or they still aren't perfect if you ask me. But you just continue to post, and you continue to just reach your customer base. You'll find the people that really want to support you. You just got to be able to be willing to put yourself out there. And that's really it.
Yeah. Be willing to, I don't know, like what imperfect action is, I don't know, better than nothing.
And no action. You're right.
Yeah, for sure.
People like human, like
yes.
People, social media makes you, it I don't know, it has that kind of unreal expectation. Sometimes people are faking or whatever, but people really do want that humanness out of what they see, on social media. So like they know we're real people in the community. People tag us and they see our vehicle because we have our logos on our vehicles. And I mean, we could be dropping the kids off and they're like, I seen Certified Bob's truck. Oh my God, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get coffee, guys. Like, it's just like I'm doing regular stuff and people are excited to see that driving down the same street that I'm driving down. Like it's and it's fun. It's fun for people to, interact with us that way, just because they know that we'll respond.
Yeah. And I think that's a funny thing too, is what I've noticed is people are very forgiving of individuals making mistakes or not being perfect. And then as soon as there's like a business page or some like there's like that expectation, like you're that unrealistic expectation that everything has to be perfect. And if there's one thing that's wrong, they're going to get slammed. They're going to do whatever. And what I think, like, basically what I'm hearing from you guys is highlight the people behind what's going on. Like, hey, we're humans too. We're people too. We're in the community. We're basically the same thing, right? We just so happen to have really good pizza at at this location. So I think that's, again, injecting that personality and sharing the humanness behind the journey is what connects with people the most.
I guess in the restaurant industry, especially, like we see so many people that come in that, obviously they don't look like us. And that's perfectly fine. Like it's a joy to see my dining room full of a variety of people, families, kids, older, couples, groups. We've had schools come and bring buses of kids. And each day is different and filled with different people. Different types of people, but I think our goal to have that dine-in is to bring that together. Like everybody can come sit at a table and enjoy food. That is a commonality that no matter what you look like, no matter what your background is or what you did, everybody likes good food, and everybody's going to come in and have a good time or enjoy themselves at least while they're here.
Yeah, kind of the concept of like, don't build a wall, build a longer table. Like everybody's welcome. Everybody can come. Everybody can hang out. Like if you like pizza and community, this is where you want to go.
It's a commonality, yeah.
Yeah. Hey listeners, if you're finding this episode thought-provoking and you're wondering how to take what you've learned and your own experiences to help others, I'd love to chat with you. Let's dive into a coaching call, and your first one is on me. Just head over to the link in the show notes labeled Coaching Call Interest Form, and we'll set up a time that works for both of us. I can't wait to connect. There's something I want to ask you guys. So you guys have mentioned before in other interviews, and I think even the first time that we met, that you guys are the first Black-owned pizza joint in Arkansas, as far as we know. And can you just explain, what is the significance of that for you guys? Why is that something to be proud of? Why is that something that you talk about? Like, what's the significance of that for you guys?
I think for us, the statistics, really show that minorities don't really own businesses. And even me growing up, we were taught to just be workhorses, right? Like just to, you want to get a job and, work a 9 to 5 so you can, do all these things. Entrepreneurship wasn't really taught in our generation, at least for me. And it's something that we want to showcase, like that you don't have to, just play the status quo. If you have an idea and you want to see it executed, you can do it. Like, and also just changing in your business, pivoting. We, again, like Kreg said, we originally, like our idea was like a meal prep business. And then we started to really like dive into how much that was going to cost and all the food and all the things. And we're like, man, that's going to be a really tough journey. But then Harlem came in and that light bulb went off for all of us. Like, this is the direction we need to take this. And then look at us now. So it just, took that dedication. So I think we want to be that visual representation is why it's really important for us. And, we said that, yes, we are the first, Black-owned pizza company that we built. There have been other Black business owners that have gone through a franchise or may have owned a business, whether that they sold pizza or other things. There's more than one way to own a business or to, be that in the community. So our purpose in saying that we are the first is that we built it. Like we built our brand, we built our products, we built our menu items and everything, that we share. And in hopes that one day we decide to maybe, be that franchisor where, we have other buildings or other people that want to replicate what we're doing.
Yeah, so a lot of it is just really being like that mentor, that I guess ideation of like, hey, like it is possible. Here's the proof. We did it.
Mm-hmm.
Started from literally the ground up. I think just I think that's the other good thing to highlight too is that this wasn't even the original idea. That you were able to take an idea that came from another idea and something you were already taking action on and able to make that pivot into something that has all these followers, that has a brick and mortar, that has this community and this, I guess a mission that really stands for something more than just the pies in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you a story, Ranger. Back, I would say 2017. Was it 2017? Yes. A lady messaged me and
Mm-hmm.
she saw my food on Instagram and she was like, "Do you offer meal prep services?" And I was like, "No." I said, "I never even thought about cooking food for anybody." But she was,
Set the stage. So he was a truck driver at the time,
mm,
on the road all the time. I was working. We had just had our son, and we were trying to eat better, cook healthier, because like we were going nonstop, and so it was like, oh, we've got to do something. So we were crafting these healthier meals so he could take on the road with him, and I would have something at the house, and it was just like that was we were just cooking for ourselves. Is in he got to posting it on Instagram, and then this lady reached out. So
messaged me and she was willing to pay me $200. And I was shocked at the time. I was like, let me talk to my wife and I'll let you know if this is something I want to do. And I was like, babe, she willing to pay me $200 to make her some food. Like, do
mhm.
you think I should do it? She was like, yeah, I mean, why not? Let's try it out and see. So I was like, she's literally my first customer.
Mhm.
And from there, it just sparked this fire in me to be like, I found something that I was passionate about for one, but then I found something where I was like, I feel like I'm finding myself, a little bit outside of my regular norm of being a truck driver. And I've always had this, I don't know, yearning to be an entrepreneur um, in my life. And I just never knew how to get there or the path. And with cooking, it gave me that opportunity to be able to showcase my talent outside of what everybody, I guess, knew me for, which was just a truck driver. And that passion really just fueled our spark into all. I would say we went for 3 years just doing meal prep out of our home until we graduated to the AR kitchen. And our total intention was to go in AR kitchen doing meal prep all the way up until my birthday when I tasted that pizza. And it was just, like I said, a light bulb went off. And I'm very, very thankful that Harlem and Samantha really supported my vision as far as because I'm the one that really pushed the idea onto them to be like, hey, y'all, I think this might be where we want to go. And Harlem wasn't even a part of the company. He was just my friend. My brother, he's just my friend from the outside making me a pizza. And he just from day one never denied the idea of certified pies. Just always have been supportive of the journey and just having not my back, I would say, and each other's back during this whole time, the transition to AR Kitchen to now. And without that support, without their support, I definitely we couldn't be where we are today without that and with everything. So I'm definitely thankful for them too.
Yeah. No, I think that's, God, I always think those are so cool. Like how that one message changed so much, very much like the butterfly effect, the ripple effect, whatever you want to call it. And it led us to where we are now with the three of you, brick and mortar shop, serving people, having these different experiences for folks. And the question I want to ask you is about the partnership that the three of you have. Like there's a couple different dynamics here, and tell me if I'm accurate. There's the married couple, the friends, the partner, the business partners. Like, I want to know how that works. But then it also kind of sounds like there's kind of what the visionary, the operator, and the talent is kind of how I'm kind of seeing it almost. Like, is that accurate, that there's like, you all bring something different to the table?
Yeah.
Like, it's not just, oh, that's my wife, or oh, that's my husband. Obviously, we're going to go into it together. It's like you all bring different talents and different aspects to the business. Like, can you talk a little bit about that? What I'm curious about is the dynamic that all three of you have, because I feel like something that a lot of entrepreneurs or business owners, nonprofit, whatever, they think, oh, I'm going to start this business with my husband just because he's my husband, or I'm going to start it with my best friend just because they're my best friend. And it sounds like what you guys have is more so everybody brings something different to the table. And just from what the conversation I've had so far with Kreg and Samantha is, it's like the visionary, the operator, and the talent. And you all bring something different. So what I was curious about is how that dynamic has worked for you guys, how it's evolved over time. And if you guys could just kind of speak to everything that everybody brings to the table to make Certified Pies a success.
I'll tell you this, it's better to have three heads working than one. Sam is real good at numbers. Craig is real good at the physical thing. I'm real good at doing the thing, and it all meshes well. It's kind of, that's a loaded question. It's a good question.
I threw a lot at you guys right there.
Yeah, it's hard to explain on I ain't gonna say on my end, because, before this, I was actually I worked at the library for 15 years. And yeah, linked up with him. He was like, we should be selling this, and doing it. And I never thought to put into a plan of action like that. It took them having the Speak Like Foods to be able to, okay, this can be a thing. If that answered the question, I'm sorry for that.
Yeah, it sounds like all the ingredients were there. Right. I mean, ingredients, pun intended, for sure.
Right.
Everybody had, like, I don't know, but the basics of a pizza. Like the dough was in one spot, the sauce was in another, the cheese was over here. But it wasn't until you started kind of putting them together that they all really started to mesh. Like, separately, you don't really have that vision for what it could be all together. But once, I don't know, when that woman reached out to you, Kreg, about doing the meal prep and being a business, right? And then I'm sure once Samantha saw that and was like, oh, wait a second, let's look at the numbers. I don't know, I'm just making things up, obviously. And then bringing you in and saying, hey, like, this is amazing. Like, one, the birthday pizza sounds fantastic. What a friend right there. It's just so interesting how all of that came together in a way that nobody saw before. Or even, like, it doesn't sound like any of you worked in food service before this, right? Like the library, the truck, I missed what Samantha did.
I was in sales. I was in business sales.
In business,
my first job was at a pizza joint.
Oh, okay. So you had some experience in it, but I'm sure working in the library for 15 years was very different than.
Yeah, most definitely.
Working at a pizza restaurant, like, as your first job, is very different than working at a pizza restaurant and creating it, owning it.
Yeah, sorry. I guess being the 16-year-old truck delivery driver is very different than being the man behind the stove or behind the oven or flipping the dough. So I guess from your guy, like, on the talent side of what everybody brings, like, can you guys speak to that a little bit more, like, from Kreg and Samantha and you, Harlem? Like, what has that dynamic been like?
I would say, if I'm gonna compliment these two, I would say for Harlem, from me, he is like the glue that keeps everything on. Don't let everybody get too high. Don't let everybody get too low. He kind of balances me and Sam out, as far as, like, I'm this whole visionary guy. I want to do a stuffed pizza with the cheese and cut it in an octagon and serve it to people. And they'll be like, well, let's talk about that. Or Harlem will be like, let's talk about that first.
No, that's me. Like that, you started it through, and to me, I'm very much the details. Like, I need the details in order to make it make sense. Like, having the idea is one thing, but like, going from here to the end, like, I'm missing all of this in the middle. But Craig don't see it that way. He's like, nope, it's in my head, and we're gonna do it this way. So when we're at odds, then Harlem comes in and he's like, all right, guys, I see. Here's where Craig is, and here's where you are. I'm gonna insert, and he's as we are now. He's in the middle. So he definitely Harlem definitely balances out the dynamics between my strong suit of operations, and so that's just my background, and the how everything works. And I always tell him, like, Harlem, you have to pick a side, and he will never pick a side.
Very even keel.
So we have to work it out. Like he's not gonna let us leave the room without us figuring it out. Like, it's just not gonna happen.
Yeah. And we sometimes when it come to a vote, we put some stuff to a vote, and sometimes I get outvoted. So
yeah, I think that's also important. I mean, that's something that I've experienced even with my walk, right? Is I came up with the idea, I was like, oh, I'm gonna do this whole crazy thing. And my fiance is like, have you thought about this? Like, what about this? Or what about that? So I think it's so important to have, like, again, that the big words, right? Like the visionary that says what things can be or has those ideas, but also the other person that kind of say, hey, let's slow it down. Let's think about how we can make this happen. And it doesn't sound like it's no, that's a terrible idea, or no, that's dumb. It's like, okay, that's great. Put a pin in it. How do we get from right here where we are now to what you're saying? What about this whole gap in between? And then we can make that intentional decision. Do we want to fill this gap, or do we want to do something else with that information? Hey everyone, just a quick message. You know that my mission with this podcast is to share stories of influence and impact so that we can help more people help more people. But to do that, I need your support. Please rate, review, and share this podcast. If I could ask for just one favor, it's to just leave a review. It takes about 10 seconds and a few clicks, but it means the world to me and could inspire someone else to make a difference. Thank you so much, and now back to the show. Oh, the other question I want to ask you guys, the name Certified Pies. How did you even come up with, like, what is that?
Yeah.
What are you certifying?
Yeah. Okay. When we were originally thinking about this, we said we wanted some legit. I said, this is different pizza. So this is the best pizza. We gotta have it. The name has to be legit. It has to be certified. I literally was like, Certified Pizza. And I was like, I think that's the name, guys, Certified Pizza. And we sat down, I told Harlem, and he was like, Certified Pies. And I was like, you know what? It has a better ring to it. It's Certified Pizza. It's Certified Pies. You're guaranteed to get a great tasting pizza. Or that's basically behind our product. We want to make sure that we stand behind everything that we serve, from the wings, the pizzas, the salads. It's all going to be a quality, great experience for you to enjoy. So that's why we named it Certified Pies.
I think a lot of them two are very into, like, they're music lovers, like, and I mean, much like many people. But when we were thinking about names and everything, like, we were like, you think about a record, like you have a product that comes out, or you have a song that comes out, right? And then people want to come back, so people want to, like, re-listen to it. So that's what certifies, like, a song, is they get a stamp of so many records played. So we kind of based it off of that. And then we took it from the Certified Pies, and then that's kind of where some of our names of our pizzas come from, is all referencing a great artist or a song of some sort, maybe some lyrics, like just something that was unique to being certified.
Yeah, and that's something I also noticed, that you guys have very unique names for your items on your menu. Like, what can you explain a couple of those?
So,
what are the highlights?
In my spare time, I DJ. So I'm a real big music lover. This man is a real big music lover. Sam loves music. So a lot of our items are based on either artists or songs that we know, such as the Al Green with an E. Al Green, because it's a smoother pizza. You know, it's an Alfredo based spinach, lettuce, spinach, tomato, and chicken. We got the 400 Degrees, which is a classic rap album, and that is one of our buffalo. That's our buffalo pizza. So that's a buffalo base chicken and ranch. You know, we got the Smooth Operator. You know, which is a very classic, good Sade song. If you haven't heard it, who hasn't heard it? But you know, that's like our chicken bacon ranch. It's just we want people to be able to look at the titles, and if you know, you know, and get the same experience from the food. You know, so when you buy into a Smooth Operator, we want you to have a smooth experience. Like this ain't something to really take you fast. It's something to ease you into it, and then you open up. You know.
I love that. And again, that's just all like personality of the owners, of the people that are operating the business, shining through. And like it's an extension of yourselves rather than just this, kind of what we're talking about, like this clean cut, like the meat lovers, the Hawaiian. Like it adds that level of, like you said, if you know, you know. If you don't, it's still a good pizza. It's still great. But I think that's so interesting. A lot of this conversation sounds like injecting your personality into the business that you have. And that's what's really going to shine through and create that following and that, I guess, long-term sustainable success rather than just new exciting pizza place and then you forget about it a month later. But I guess with all that being said, like is there anything else you would want listeners to know about certified pies or where you guys are going in the future? Like, what does that look like in the next several years?
I'll just say for me, just want people to understand that when you see me, Harlem, and Sam, that we are just regular people that decided to take a chance on trying to live out a dream of being self-employed and being entrepreneurs and actually just trying to take advantage of life and all that it brings with you and just being able to live life to the fullest, man. We can say that we actually own the pizza company, that we can take this memory with us forever, however long we are here on this earth, and to be in the midst of it, to be making the pizzas and to be owning the business and all that stuff it's amazing. It's an amazing feeling that I don't take for granted. I know that they don't take it for granted, and just very passionate about making sure if you do hear this podcast or you do listen, that you just go for what you know. Life is very short, and I never want to spend a lot of time saying that I didn't get to pursue my dreams of owning a pizza company or whatever it is you choose to do in life. I say go for it. Walk across America.
Open up the pizza place. Take the first step. Really just, again, take the first step. Everything is a metaphor, right? Like just jump into it. See what happens. Take risks. And it sounds like even with your guys' story, take risks, but find resources to mitigate as much of it as possible so that you can see what's actually going on and what it will take.
I would say Samantha played a big part in getting us to that next level. Believe it or not, I mean, I'm sure you know, but she really has taken her talents from being a business salesperson. And I've always told her she attracts people. Like she literally attracts people with the way that she can just talk to people. She can talk to a stranger out of nowhere and become best friends with you within like 2 to 3 minutes. And I always told her when she was selling stuff, like, that's a skill, babe. Like everybody can't just attract people like the way that you attract strangers to you. And she's really taken all of that and brought it all here. And it's just crazy to see, like, literally the stuff that you learn and the stuff that you learn too from working at the library and how that has all transitioned into where we are at now. We're actually putting the stuff that we did from our jobs and lives to use and making it work and to our advantage.
I'll say, man, take a chance on yourself. In my past life, I was very conservative. I had a job. Everything was mapped out, and it's cool. But after 15 years, what else is there to do? You can always be an employee. It's rare that you get to be an owner. And if people take a chance on you, learn to take a chance on yourself. That's what I learned. Like, I've always been very conservative. I ain't gonna do too much. I ain't gonna do too little. I'm gonna be right there in the middle. So to be like, okay, I'm gonna leave this spot and go over here and do this. Like, it was a big leap of faith, but I had people that believed. It took Kreg and Sam to take a chance for me to even be like, okay, this product can sell. And no matter what you do, whether you sell pizza or you knit, whatever, take a chance on yourself and take a chance with your people. And it'll work out. It's really been the happiest I've been in a long, long time. That's all I got.
I mean, I think, I don't know, gosh, it's hard to follow up with them two. I did corporate. So I was very much that, again, like I said, taught to get a job, do your 9 to 5, work your way up the ladder to, make somebody else money. And, although my brain was very, very operational, so even just, his vision, his product, Craig's vision, Harlem's product, I still was very leery, I was not the risk taker. I didn't know that I wanted to take the risk, but doing that has really it's really opened up my eyes. And also knowing, I guess seeing that, you do learn, these skills. Working for a job is not a bad thing. I don't want anybody to get off of this, lesson of that you absolutely shouldn't, work for somebody. But every one of us took skills that we learned on a job and then turned it into this. So, and sometimes that pivot happens whether you want it to or not. And you just have to believe in yourself and believe that you do have the skills to do the thing, to invest in yourself, and that something may come out of it. I think that's again one of the joys for us is that we built our business and then we built it off of collaboration, which is something that you don't see in the business world because everybody thinks you have to have competition or you have to compete with somebody else in order to have a business. And we knew that, having and building this business as a Black-owned company and just in Arkansas was going to set that bar really high already. But we wanted to bring others along with us in our journey. So for us, we also partnered with other small minority businesses to fill in some gaps. And we've in return seen their businesses grow as well, which is something I think that we're all proud of, not just for our business, but for others and other, businesses to be able to see that, you can collaborate and bring something good and everybody wins. So that's what I
think all that's fantastic. There's so many different little lessons and nuggets I think listeners can take away from there. So thank you guys for sharing all of that. If people want to follow you on your journey and learn more about you whenever you guys decide to go live or Kreg forces you guys to be on live,
that's how
right. That's way to keep up with you.
Certified Pies, literally on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever you can find us. We're literally on all social media platforms. Just check in with us there.
Perfect.
If you're ever in town and you're traveling this way, can get you a good pizza.
Yes.
Wings, too.
Yeah, pizza, wings, salad, whatever you guys want. Yeah, the damn good. That's for sure. But awesome.
And while we have you, Ranger, what was your review? Because you had one of our pizzas.
I thought it was one of the best pizzas I've had in a while. I mean, I feel like I eat a lot of the chain stuff, which again, pizza's pizza, but I don't know. You could just tell that it was. I think you guys we make everything fresh, right? Like everything. You could tell. It was solid. It wasn't like, I don't know, like you feel like pizza's like usually like gross or greasy or something. Like I didn't feel gross eating it also, but maybe I just eat really bad pizza. I don't know. It was solid. It was, I don't know. I also needed that good little bump. So thank you guys.
It was cool for us. It was cool. I mean, it was amazing. I think that you came into the parking lot that day.
Yeah.
Our staff was super excited to meet you.
Yeah.
I think that was a highlight. So we appreciate you for taking this journey
And walking
down the street off of Markham and coming to get some pizza.
If I'll walk 1,000 miles to get your guys' pizza, nobody has. If you're in Little Rock, you have no excuse not to try it.
No excuse.
Awesome. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. All of your info will be down in the show notes, but thank you again for hanging out with me for a little bit.
Thank you.
And as always, thank you to the listeners for spending some time with us today and hearing the story of Kreg, Samantha, and Harlem and certified pies. I think that my biggest takeaways from today's episode are to take the risk you've been wanting to take, but find ways to mitigate it as much as possible. Just like they were able to work in AR Kitchen to really hone in on their idea and figure out whether or not this product that they were working so hard to create was actually worth it or not. I think that we can take that and apply that to other areas or risks that we want to take in our life to make it as safe as we possibly can. The other main thing is to take the experiences that you have from your past, whether it's an old job, an old volunteer opportunity, or just a passion or hobby that you have, and be willing to let that blossom into something different. Just like they were able to take their experiences working in corporate America, working as a truck driver, or even working in a library. Every single experience that you have is useful in some other facet of your life. And the third is to build relationships with folks to go into business with them that actually make sense. As we kind of talked about, there was the visionary, the operator, and the talent. And you can see how each one of these players with Kreg, Samantha, and Harlem were able to really interact and play off of each other to create something amazing. They didn't just go into business together because they're best friends or because they're married. I'm sure that helps, of course, but it's because they all brought something different to the table to make it a success. What were your big takeaways from today? Let me know in the comments of the post that I make on social media. Send me an email, or on Spotify, leave a comment and let me know what you thought of today's episode. Was there something that you'll be taking away into your business? Something that you'll be taking away into your life? I want to know. Let me know. Share it on social media, tag me in it. Let me know your thoughts. I would really love to hear the feedback that you guys have about the show so that I can help facilitate these conversations in a way that is better for everyone. Thank you again to today's episode sponsor. All their information will be in the show notes below, right above where we have all of the information for certified pies. And as always, please be sure to share the show. If you share it on social media and you tag us in it within Range Coaching, I'll be sure to share it on my socials as well. I'd love to see that, and I would be eternally grateful so that we can help more people. Just as the way that we end every episode, I hope you have fun, stay safe, and be yourself. I'll see you guys next week.